Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Breakfast with the Brand. Our phenomenal leader, Sean Rais, is traveling right now. He's traveling. So he's entrusted you all with two of his lieutenants, myself, Bobby Jackson, and I'm accompanied with the phenomenal Travis Klein here. And today we're going to talk about a few things. But before we get into that, how you feeling this morning, Travis? What's the energy in the room? That's how we like to open the calls.
The energy is very alive. I can't say that it's ever not alive, but more so now. I'm just coming to we're in the fourth quarter now. I mean, when we think of things being high stakes, or for me, it's basketball. When I really think of basketball and what it takes at the end to pull off that championship, whatever that energy is that's in the air, that's what I'm feeling right now. It's crunch time. It's the fourth quarter. It's time to pull it all together and pull off this game at bare minimum overtime or into overtime.
That's good. I love that because it makes me think about this interview I saw with Michael Jordan, and a reporter came up to him, and the reporter said, if the game was on the line and it was the last 5 seconds left on the clock, who's getting the ball? And he looks at this lady with the with the straightest face. He said, that's a stupid question. Me, and that was his attitude about it. So what's your attitude, ladies and gentlemen, as you watch this episode this morning? What's your energy? What's your attitude towards the fourth quarter? Where are you with your goals, and who's getting the ball? Are you taking the rock, as we say, right? Are you asking for the ball at the last moment? So for me, I'm in that same space. I'm in that same space, feeling real good this morning. Woke up, did the meditation, did my routine. And as we dive into some of the topics that I've laid out for us today, we don't script. So I'm excited to see where this goes. But here's the question that I'd like us to dive into a little bit is, one, where's the money? And what's the brand? Where's the money and what's the brand? So a little bit about this concept, this idea. At the end of the year, ladies and gentlemen, this is where professional business owners, individuals that have been running their businesses, scaling their businesses, should be looking at their retained earnings so that they can pull money out. But that's not always what happens, right? What normally happens is we've been hustling all year long. And the brand that we could have been building to raise our prices, to get ourselves out there to market more effectively, we might not have developed the brand to the stage it needed to be. So now we're at the end of the year and we're looking at the money that we should be able to pull out of the company in the form of retained earnings, so that we can build our net worth, so that we can build our estate, so that we can prepare and protect our family. We're supposed to be able to do that, right? But when we look at the balance sheets, when we look at the accounts, when we look at what's actually there, we might not see what we want to see. So after we come back from the break, that's what we're going to be diving into. Both myself and Travis have made money, lost money, and learned from those losses. And now we have a brand that is building and developing that not only allows us to grow our net worth, but it also allows us to see some more of that money at the end of the year, and not just having a business where money's passing through, passing out, and never getting to our families.
The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. Confidence is key. Most of the people I work with, they have the education, the experience, and the expertise. We call those the 3 E's. But they're looking for the 3 I's, the income, the impact, and the independence. And I always tell them that the bridge between the 3 E's and the 3 I's is marrying your confidence to your competence. Most of the people I work with, again, have all of the competence in the world. What I help them do is get the confidence.
Man, how was that? How was that? Everybody needs that income, impact, independence, but until we can get the confidence right, there's just some things that don't come as easily, no matter how much competence you have. My goodness. And I can say that was definitely me. But let's dive into this question some more. Let's dive into this question. Where's the money and what's the brand? So, Travis, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, and when you looked over everything, had to figure out where all the money went? Like, has that ever happened to you?
More times than I would like to admit.
Oh, tell us about one.
Oh, man. One of my largest was when I was making the transition from real estate into taking more of my resources into the field of trading. Before doing that, I tried to take the hands-off approach. I tried to take the passive income approach, as you will. And with that, there were tiers. There were tiers to the investment levels. So going through it, I gave it a test. This was in the crypto and Forex realm.
Right.
I gave it a test, did a small amount of money, couple $100 or so to begin. Just wanted to see if I would be able to withdraw my money with no problem. And man, oh man, did they pull the wool over my eyes. Everything went fine then. And once I realized it was legit and I had, what I thought was legit, I had no problem accessing my money and got it, relatively quickly within a few days. I made the big investment. So then jumped to 4 figures and made the 4 figure. Because like I said, there were tiers to it. So it's like a return.
Yeah.
The more you invest, the bigger the return. So did that and just kept compounding. Anytime the investment period was over, or you think the viewers here are familiar with CD laddering, that strategy?
That might be a little deeper than where we want to go this morning. But if you could give them, say, the concept, they might be able to grab that. Kind of just the idea.
Okay. So let's say you have a 1 year, a 2 year, and a 3 year CDs. All 3 of these are separate. So one earning 5, 10, and 15% respectively. So anytime when that 1 year CD, comes to maturation, you take your money from that, and then you just repeat the process over and over again.
Yeah.
So, I was essentially doing that in this account where I was literally invested in every single tier that they had. Like, talk about compounding the money. So I wanted everything. And in the course of a year, grew that to a little over $1 million. And
Let's go.
yeah, when it came time, but that meant nothing. That
Man,
meant nothing when it was time to do the withdrawal. I can still remember there was 29,000 some odd dollars that I tried to withdraw and ran into every hurdle in the book.
right.
And long story short, that's what brought me into learning to trade for myself. So from that point on, I said that I would never leave large sums of money like that in the hands of someone else. And I would take it upon myself.
Mm-hmm.
I do with the money what I please with it.
You know, it's so funny that all of us, dare I say, have had that experience to some degree. Like, how many of you are watching right now have made substantial amounts of money in your business, saw the money coming in, knew that you were doing well, but you invested in something that you didn't fully understand? You got into an industry that you might not have sought enough counsel to be in. And when you were there, you were coming in at the height of things. Everything was hyped up. Everybody was making money. Everybody was chummy. And then when it all falls down and the curtains get pulled back and someone says, I'm sorry, there's no money here for you. It does something. It does something. But it matures you, right? It grows you. It builds you. And that's what I want to talk about this morning, because a lot of us are professional business owners, but we haven't gotten the coaching necessary to handle the money properly. I remember one of the first classes that we learned in Branding Like a Leader 1.0 about 2-3 years ago was Money Mind versus Monkey Mind. Powerful course. And when we were going through that aspect of the training, we were talking about the buckets, where to put your money, the holes in the buckets, what will cost you money. We were talking about how to grow it. Guys, I didn't get 400% revenue growth 3 consecutive years because I had holes in my bucket. It's because I understood some fundamentals. So what I want to do is I want to give you all over the course of this call, like every time we come here, we try to give it all to you. We try to give you as much as you can appreciate. So what I want to give you today is the 4 laws of money, or excuse me, the 5 laws of money. The 5 laws of money. This is from the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And me and Travis are going to converse about this as we go back and forth. But if you stick around and you have pen and paper in hand and you follow me through this, ladies and gentlemen, my background is finance and economics. That's what I studied in college. I run a financial consulting firm. Like, if you pay attention and you listen and you take notes, I'm about to give you exactly what you need to plug the holes in your financial bucket, to start building out your wealth. And me and Travis are going to share some vulnerable stories about why we are intimately acquainted with these laws. So as we go through the breaks, I'm going to give 1 or 2, 3 laws here and there, but I'm going to open up with law number 1 and we're going to talk about it a little bit. So you guys stick around, whole thing, share this out. Please share this out. If you know business owners that are building their businesses, y'all all come together, y'all all eating lunch together, and nobody's really fronting the bill. No one's chomping at the bit to pay for everybody because no one's really making the money that they want to be making. So now we're all in a position looking around. We're looking at the menu. We're at a nice spot, but we're not really getting what we want to get. So I want to help you with that. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help. So here we go. Law number 1. Money comes readily to the person who saves 10% of everything they earn to create an estate for their family and future. It's the law of money number 1. Let's say that one more time. This is not verbatim the way it is in The Richest Man in Babylon, because they wrote it in like old English, right? Old Babylonian talk. I broke it down for you. They say the 5 laws of gold. It is the same principle. So here it is one more time. Money comes readily to the person who saves 10% of everything they earn to create an estate for their family and future. Now, let me tell you why this works. And then I'm going to turn it over to Travis to see if he believes this principle is true. So here's why this principle works. The principle works because human beings have passions. Passions. And our passions are often more numerous than our ability to fulfill each passion. Hear me, it's not about the money. Making money is not about money. What do they say? Money doesn't solve money problems. Like if you can't save money, it's not a money problem. There's a deeper root. So I'm trying to give you the solution, the key to unlock that thing in you that you might think is money related, but it's really not. So we have passions, meaning we have desires. We want to do stuff, but we don't have enough time to do all the things we might want to do, nor do we have enough money. So the law, the principle of saving 10% of everything that you earn requires you to express self-mastery. It requires you to temper yourself. It requires you to say, I'm going to hold on to this and not spend it all. The moment you do that, you put the passions in check. Now, the second thing that the 10% law or rule does is it helps you value properly. So we have value systems. And if you spend all of your money and you spend your time making money, that means you don't value your time. Hear me. If you spend all your money, 100% of all you get, and as you spend this money, you have to work, meaning more time to make more money, you don't value your time. So what the rule says is it says save everything you earn to create 10% of everything you earn to create an estate for your family and future. So the future aspect is you want to save the 10% to show respect to your time, your future time. So when you have an estate, it's less time you have to spend making money because you've got the money working for you, so you respect your time. When you save for your family's estate, you respect life and its fragility. You could die at any day. So you want to have your priorities straight. So when you protect your family, you put the money in the right spot, meaning you're valuing your family, you're putting people over profit. And when you invest in your future, you are respecting your own time. And when you save 10% of everything you earn, you are putting your passions in check. That's the first law of money. What most people experience is they spend all their money. They don't really save too much. So their passions are all out of whack. And then they don't value their time, so they can't charge high prices because they're just making money and spending time and making money. So because they don't value their time, they're not able to charge for their time. So they're not making the money they want to make. And then they're having dysfunction in their family because they're prioritizing profit over people, and their support system is breaking down. So they can't sustain the money that they're making. That's a hole in your bucket. Travis, what do you have to say to that?
I'm on mute. There we go. Man, when you talked about the number of passions, what came to mind directly was the correlation or the contrast between that number of passions versus the number of disciplines. And having that ability to pay yourself first is, let's just say, the elementary or the preschool of disciplines. Not only is it a discipline in and of itself, I mean, we may not even think of it that way. We may look at it as merely a number. I mean, we probably look at it as insignificant, depending on where we are in our financial journeys. And with that, I can still remember as an hourly employee using that principle of 10%. It's not just, it's almost like it's not the 10%, but it's a molding tool to chisel away at the individual. So when you reference losing certain relationships, being overly focused on the money, that is an outward manifestation. However, we need to first work on the foundation or the internal so that the external comes to us or attracts to us that much easier, to where it's almost as though when we fail to follow this first rule in the 5 laws of gold, when we fail to do so, we put our own obstacles and hurdles in the way. I don't know if you all ran track. I did in high school. It's like we are literally putting hurdles in our path. And Lord knows, as a business owner, we have enough of these anyways. so, so it's like we go around creating doing this disservice to ourselves, and then unfortunately the consequences of that is that it doesn't just affect us, but it affects our business, it affects our loved ones, and unfortunately there are too many of us that are indirectly, let's just say, almost like self-harming, or at least self-harming the business, maybe possibly due to a lack of awareness. So I'm very grateful that this is where we're going with the conversation this morning.
Yeah. And I noticed that Lawana said, great analogy. Great analogy. I think it's a good one too, because there's one thing that Sean would say, and that's kind of get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. And sometimes saving 10% could simply be you getting out of your own way. Like, just get out of your own way so that your money can work for you. So because I'm seeing how in depth we can go in these, I'm not even going to respond too much to what Travis broke down. I just hope you're writing. I just hope you're writing. Share this out, ladies and gentlemen. Like, if this is helping you, help somebody else. What does son say? He says the Prometheus, I believe. I'm not the best with the Greek mythology, but there was an individual who went to the gods and got the flame, and that individual brought the flame back to the people, and then was reverenced as a hero. So this stuff, if it can help your business, it can likely help someone just like you build their business, right? So the next law of money is this: money works cheerfully and diligently for the person who finds for it wise and profitable employment. Under these conditions, there are few limits to how big the returns can become. That's law number 2. One more time. Money works cheerfully and diligently for the person who finds for it wise and profitable employment. Under these conditions, there are few limits to how big the returns can become. Ladies and gentlemen, if I can be blunt, we invest in everything but what we should be investing in. We invest in everything other than what we should be investing in. See, it says money works cheerfully and diligently for the person who finds wise and profitable employment. Your money is working grudgingly for you, disrespectfully for you. Your money's not even showing up for work on time. Why? Because you put it in your stomach. Why? Because you put it in a bottle, took it back. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, where are you spending your money? Because depending on where you put it is going to determine how cheerfully it works for you. And if you put your money on your feet and you just walk around in your money, it's not going to work as hard for you than if you put your money in your head. If you put your money in your business, a system, it says put your money in wise and profitable places. And when you put it there, it works for you cheerfully. So I want to go a little bit deeper into this second piece, and then I'm going to talk about a few of my losses and turn it back over to Travis here. But there are few limits to how big your money can grow when you do this right. Now, I want you all to pay very close attention to what I'm about to say next. This will help you, I guarantee it. If you've been working for 10 or 20 plus years, you've probably touched $1 million. And that's W-2 job. If you have expertise, experience, and education, and you have been working for 10 plus years, you've probably touched $1 million. Now, $100,000 is 10% of $1 million. Had you been investing 10% of everything you earn compoundingly in wise and profitable places, I don't have to tell you what that money would look like today. I don't have to tell you that, because you know what that money would look like. It would be astronomical, but the money's not there. So what we have to do is we have to also take full accountability for the fact that our problem is not our ability to make money. We know how to make money. We've been making money. What we don't understand is leverage. The leadership leverage changed my life, guys. Leverage is where you put your inputs in order to maximize your outputs. If you leverage the wrong thing, your outputs will not resemble what you want to see. If you leverage your money to purchase fast food and cheap, inexpensive solutions that don't really solve the problem that you have, then what you're really doing is exacerbating the problem, spending money that we don't have, and then wondering where it all went. We're going to talk about where money can go when we come back from the break.
I said Sean Ride East. I'm proud. I said Sean Ride East. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker, too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause.
Yes, yes, yes. When I think of brand you, I think of being your best self, your most authentic. The reason why we were able to crush business, absolutely dominate in business without having the marketing list, without having the email huge list, without having the Facebook ads and the advertising budget, without knowing the algorithm. The reason we were able to do this is because I branded myself. I told my authentic story and I was comfortable in my skin. Why? Because it was that time in the world where everything was shifting. It was 2020, March. So you remember what happened during that time. It was like the world was coming to an end. So you didn't have anything to hold back. So I chose to give everything that I had and be everything that I am. And because I was that, because I branded me, because I was authentic, everything shifted and people wanted more. And they wanted to know more about me and how they could become more comfortable in their skin. Listen, guys, when you brand you and not what you do, you're gonna add a zero to the world, but you'll also add a zero to your revenue. Let's grow.
Man, what about that? What about that? Before you come in with this piece, Travis, because I know you probably got some insight here. I do want to lean back very briefly into the overall question that we open this up with, and that is, where's the money and what's the brand? So what I want you all to think about as you're listening to us go through this morning is, a brand is, you can think of it at least this way: the feeling people get when you enter a room, or the things people say when you leave it. What lingers, what impression, what can they say about you because of how they were impressed by you, right? So when I'm talking about where's the money, what's the brand, like, you are the brand. And that means if you manage your brand, great, you know where your brand is going. But if you don't manage your brand, it doesn't mean you don't have one. It just means you're not maintaining it. So look at your money and let your money tell you where your brand is to a degree, because it will. You are the brand. Like, are you managing the brand is the question. Are you managing your human capital? Are you managing your financial capital? Are you putting the right things in the right places to have the brand you want? When you leave the bank, do they say, wow, that's a phenomenal individual, I wish I knew what they did? Is that the brand? Or is the brand, ugh, I'm happy I'm not them. I hope I'm not there when when the man comes. I hate writing these pink slips out for these evictions, but I mean, it happens. Like, what's the brand when you leave the room? So go ahead, Travis. Could you talk a little bit about how things can just fleet? They can leave you. Money can leave you so fast if you don't have something to do with it, something profitable.
Absolutely, Bobby. Thank you very much for putting things back in their proper perspective. So, going back to the second point of money working cheerfully, or the second law of gold, where money works, I'm just paraphrasing, it works cheerfully for that person that finds wise and profitable employment for it. So, with that, we as people, as individuals, as aspiring human beings that want better, not just for ourselves, for our communities, for our loved ones, we have all these different aspirations. And I know it wasn't until I got with Coach Rais that I realized that I was guilty of trying to run a 501c3 right from the jump. I put the cart before the proverbial horse. I had an ambition to give back. However, due to lack of knowledge and not being around the right people, or not being in the correct spaces and communities to be around other people that help lift you up and help hold you accountable, and then bring to your awareness, or bring to our awareness, some of the things that we are, let's just say, sometimes we just simply don't know what we don't know. And unfortunately, I know we're talking about money, but I'm going to talk about it in a grander scheme. I'm going to talk about it in the terms of resource, because money is just that. It's a form of, it is just one of the many resources. So with that, unfortunately, as far as where we put our resources, sometimes we can get so busy that we end up putting our resources into the wrong places, or we invest these resources with the wrong people. And that resource takes away from the resource that brings the money in the first place, and that's time.
Yeah.
That's what we're really all in this for, is the money is never been the end all be all. The money is what affords the time. What most people want is the freedom. The freedom to do more, the freedom to be more, the freedom to inspire and influence more. However, though money is not the equivalent, however, it is definitely used to keep score in the realm of not only business, but definitely here in the US, and especially in my industry, being in the stock market. That's pretty much all we use to keep score. So with that, money can go a lot of places, man. And if we're not, if we don't have an anchor, if we don't have a foundation, if we don't have what we need something that we need to be put back on track sometimes. Oh man. And this, I mean, we can mean well. We all mean well. However, as Coach Sean says, sometimes you can't read the label from inside the bottle.
You're in the bottle. You know, if this is helping you guys, please let us know in the comment section. Like we really like to ensure that the things we're talking about are the things that you all need to hear about. Because at the end of the day, if we are in the fourth quarter, if we built the business to buy back our time and we have no money to buy back time with, then we got to look at ourselves and say, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? Because you can be a 7-figure business owner. Like, hear me. You could be at 7 figures and still not have an expanded net worth. Your net worth has very little to do with the revenue that you generate in your business. There is revenue, then there is profit, and then there's equity. Equity is what you use to build your net worth. It's what you can pull out of your business in the form of cash and invest in other places, while also investing in your business's growth and expansion. But if you don't have that resource, that cash to buy back more of your time, let me go here. And I'm going to do my best to get through all of these laws, but let me go here real quick. How do you actually buy back time? Like, what is this? Like, what is, because everybody's talking about this, but nobody's really given, in my personal and professional opinion, the real goodness to honest truth. So buying back your time is the ability to spend less and less of your time earning the money you need to live the life you desire. I'll say that again. When you are buying back time, you are spending less of your time making the money you require to live the life you desire. Everybody has goals, so to speak, life goals, family goals, certain things they want to do. They have a vision for their life. And the vision that they have for their life is probably one that requires financial resources. So if you're spending time, which is your life, I can't stand the phrase time is money, because time is life. Because when you run out of time, it's over, right? So when you're trading time for money, what you're essentially doing is you're trying to get the financial resources you need to live the life you want. So what your business is designed to do is it's designed to buy you out of a job. But it can't buy you out of a job if you're not making enough money, enough profit, enough equity to pay yourself out, to buy yourself out, to put someone else or put something else in your stead. So we want to help you and express to you why the brand is so important. Elon Musk is a personal brand, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? A brand doesn't need time. A brand doesn't spend time the same way a person does. Hear me. Virtual real estate. Like, if I'm a brand, and I'm a personal brand. We're talking leverage. Like, oh my goodness, we're talking leverage. The fastest way to make a lot of money is to detach your money-making asset from your time. The fastest way to make a lot of money is to detach your money-making asset from your time. Most people have their money-making asset directly connected to their time. If you have a job that you have to go to, that means your money-making asset is connected to your time. And if it's connected to your time, it's limited by the amount of time that you have. So the more money you make is the more you're able to separate your income producing asset from your time. So when you have a personal brand and you do one thing one time, hear me, you do one thing one time, like write the book one time, and you place it somewhere where people can see it for a lifetime, what you're doing is you're removing the income producing asset from your time, and you're spending a limited amount of time doing it one time and then leveraging. There we go. I hope you're seeing what I'm saying. You're leveraging now the internet. The internet doesn't have a life. It doesn't die. So let it work. Let it do the hard work, and you spend time with your family. But if you're not in communities like these, like I didn't just magically think up this stuff. I was being coached. I was being immersed. I was being trained. I was being broken down and rebuilt. So you have to go through the process. But a lot of people don't get to the process because they don't have the money. But that's not true. They have the money. They're just not leveraging it properly. So law number three. Money does not leave the person who is cautious of its handling and seeks expert advice in how to preserve and grow it. One more time. Law number three, law of money. Law number three. Money does not leave the person who is cautious of its handling and seeks expert advice in how to preserve and grow it. See, Travis, could you talk to me a little bit about how essential you are to your ideal client? See, your ideal client is coming to you with a desire to make money, a desire to make money in the marketplace, a desire to take their hard-earned money and put it somewhere where it could disappear that fast. They ain't even put it in the market yet, and it's gone. Like, wait a minute. So how essential are you? How essential is your expert advice to someone who's never done trading before? Can you paint a picture?
Okay, so what I would say is, for those old enough to remember Barney, let's put on our imagination hat. Let's go back. If you're driving, you can't close your eyes, but just do your best to visualize. So imagine a tropical rainforest, but you're standing at the top at a clearing. You're in one place, but you need to get to the other side. Now, for most of us, especially, well, for if you're here in the States, you probably you don't have weren't, unless you're Bobby. Yeah, and I know Bobby, you have military background, so you have additional training. But for civilians, unless they've taken some type of course, they don't have the tools necessary to make it to their destination. So what I like to do for clients is, first off, like I said in the beginning, you don't know what you don't know. So what has to be done initially is an assessment to find out where the individual is, because trading is not for everybody. And that's first and foremost. And some people don't want to hear that. Based on what is gone through in our, what we call our discovery call, in that initial consultation, we ask a bunch of questions, but that information isn't to be nosy. It's to find out whether or not you're going to break your leg in the first step of this journey. And you have such a way to go that to try to traverse a terrain like that, having a disability such as that, to have to climb elevation, so on and so forth. You're going to put yourself through so much pain. And then if it's a group, it's not just yourself that's going to go through that pain, but it's going to be that group or your family that's going to be trying to carry you along that journey. And most likely they don't see the destination that you're trying to get to anyways. So what I do is I have to come in and provide the ethical component. Whereas, as I shared with myself, that large loss I took, I wish I would have had a counsel. I wish I would have had a guide to help me in that aspect. However, live and learn. So what I do is just take my expertise and help them avoid the myriad of minefields out there. And I know we're coming up on time for a break, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Travis. Phenomenal.
I'm Jackie Miller, and I was really drawn to Sean's personality from the moment that I did the Branding Like a Leader challenge. This was the free challenge that he offered. And I'm so glad that he offered it, because I joined the class and I was blown away. First of all, by his giving personality. For me, it was the personality that really drew me in. But then as he was sharing his wealth of knowledge, I realized that there was so much that I didn't know. I already knew there was a lot I didn't know, but there was so much that I didn't know. And he was just freely giving this information. It was evident that he really wanted to help people. And as somebody who likes to help people, I connected with that. And then I was able to connect not only with Sean, but then with his team, with Junior and with Jason, Mr. B, and just the entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond. One day, something had come up, and Junior he texted me just to see how I was doing. And that really touched my heart. So that relational piece is there. So if you were having any doubts about what Mr. Sean Wright East and his team with the brand can offer you, let me let you know. It is a treat and it is a joy, and you will not be disappointed.
So when you're young, mommy tells you to play nice. Play nice, Timmy. Let all of the other kids play too. But in business, it's not about playing nice. In business, it's about winning. It's about adding multiple zeros to your revenue. Now, of course, your staff wins. And when you win, other people win. However, when it comes to competition, you absolutely must dominate. You can't play for participation, and you can't play just to get along or just to get by, because business is serious. Business will help you to change the world, or the world will change you. Your people will either win or your people will lose based on your level of leadership, what you're willing to do, what you're willing to sacrifice, and how much you know about dominating.
Dominating, right? 4D framework. 4D framework. That is decide, discipline, development, and domination. That's just a freebie. That one wasn't on the docket for today, right? But man, powerful insight to dominating. So we've got about 10 minutes, and I'm going to give you guys these next two almost in rapid succession so that me and Travis can both kind of touch on them without rushing. So I'm going to give it to you pretty quickly so we can touch on it. So number 4, the law of money. Number 4, the law of gold. Money invested where the investor, hold on, let me say that again. Money invested where the investor is not skilled in the market or has not sought wise counsel will slip away easily. That's law number 4. Like, these are laws. Like, this book was written in the 1900s. Like, people could be reading this thing every day, but they don't. It's one that I read multiple times. But let's dive into this law. This is the law I feel like trips up a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs today. So this law pretty much says, if I can be frank, do the business that you know. Like, mind your business. That's what it's saying. And if it's not your business, find someone whose business it is. I am a wealth strategist. If you are building your business and you are making money, cool, great. That's your lane. But if you need to turn that money, that revenue, into profitability, equity that can be pulled out and invested and turned into wealth and net worth, well, that's my lane. So I mind my business, you mind your business. Now, here's what we're doing today. What's happening today is everybody thinks that they can do everything. Everybody thinks they can do everything. Now, I don't know if this is partly because we're cheap, we just don't want to pay people, or if it's because we're arrogant and we feel like things aren't as difficult or complicated, complex, and nuanced. Like we just think stuff is easy. And that's partly because masters at what they do make things look easy. So we'll take responsibility for being masters. But you should also take responsibility for being arrogant if you think the work that went into developing the skill can just be learned at a moment's notice. So before I turn this over to Travis, I just want you all to take a second and self-reflect. I'm gonna read this law one more time because I know we got to move through this, and I want to give Travis at least 60 to 2 minutes, 60 seconds to hit this thing. But here's the law while you self-reflect. Money invested where the investor is not skilled in the market or has not sought wise counsel will slip away easily. Every dollar you put where you have no business and you have no degree of expertise or understanding, and you have not sought the type of counsel you likely have to pay for, then you are probably flushing money down the toilet. Talk to that, Travis.
I mean, it really just, it goes back to the intro. It goes back to what I shared before. And by then, I had already been through no less than three different programs, probably about 7 different coaches at that time. So I thought I had a nice grasp on it. However, again, you don't know what you don't know. So going back just to briefly add to what you stated before in number 4 about how the investor that's not skilled in the market that they're looking to invest in or has not sought the wise counsel is you're putting your money in the paper shredder. You're putting your money in the trash can, you're lighting it on fire, you're making it unusable. So when you talked about everyone wanting to do everything, the only caveat I would add to that, and this is just from my real estate background, is that it goes back to setting targets. Now, a wise man once told me it's so difficult, you cannot hit a target that you do not set. So if you are going to be that everyone that wants to do everything, then at least have a set guideline on it or a set time frame on it. So the goal would be to get the experience, get at least a little bit of experience to have an idea of what that job entails, and then outsource it as soon as possible.
Excellent. Law number 5, ladies and gentlemen. Law number 5. If this was helpful, please put it in the comments. Let us know this was helpful for you. This was powerful for you. Share this out. Last law. Money does not stay long with the person who romantically invests with a something for nothing attitude. One more time. Money does not stay long with the person who romantically invests with a something for nothing attitude. I think this is plague number 2. So for our generation of business owners right now, like the main plague that's hitting business owners, successful business owners that just don't have any money at the end of the year, is number 4 and number 5. Like number one, number two, number three, they're all relevant. But one, they're investing where they do not understand, they don't know the leverage points, and they aren't seeking wise counsel. That's number four. And number five, they're just thinking that there's a free lunch out here. They think it's free lunch out here. They think that you can go take a four-figure investment and go make $1 million. What? Wait, what? Huh? And I think a lot of us believe this because we hear the romanticized stories of the unicorn. The unicorn is the individual that turned $3,500 into $1 million in, 3 years, 2 years. That's a unicorn, ladies and gentlemen. You're not seeing those walk around everywhere. And the thing that they probably don't share is that they've been in business since they was like 7 years old. Their mama owned this. Their brother did that. By the time they was 15 years old, they would manage this. So when they had $3,500, they were pretty much a millionaire that went broke. A millionaire that went broke, if you have all the skills, all the insights, all the understanding, you can turn 3,500 into, say, 7 figures in a relative short amount of time. But there's context that needs to be applied there for that to be a reality. And most people are first-generation millionaires, didn't come from a ton of money, actually came from broken homes, really got some work they need to do within themselves, really got some problems looking in the mirror, and then they thinking they're gonna take $4,000 and turn it into, say, 2 million. Good luck. Good luck. Travis, what do you have to say to that before we close out?
My specialty is brevity. So with the Academy, it's simplicity, efficiency, and transparency. So we're going to hit the simplicity piece real quick. When we read good books, I'm thinking of one in particular right now, the good book, Wisdom. As we see it, wisdom in what we look at in today's term is the word skill. So every time we see that word, you need to make that transition into thinking of it in the phrase of skill, because what you just talked about, Bobby, with the person that's been groomed since their adolescence or their early years, those things come with certain internal fortitudes that build them up to be prepared to take on what it is they're able to endure later in life. They don't just wake up one day and just possess those skills. That took years of bumping their head, so to say, before they got there. So I just wanted to end on that, is when we think of wisdom, or that wisdom that young man or young woman gained in that story you just gave about that grooming process. That was the wisdom that came along. Or if we look at it in a book or the book, we need to translate that into what we reference it as today as a skill.
Powerful. I don't think there's anything left to say with that. I mean, the last thing that I would say at least would be the skills that help me do what I've been able to do. So one, branding. The next skill I learned was coaching. The next skill I learned was consulting. The next skill I learned was closing. The next skill I learned was speaking. The next skill I learned was marketing. And the skill that I'm currently developing, cultivating, is the ability to identify ideal clients, to interpret markets with greater efficiency so that I can command the number that I seek. So if those are some of the competencies that you're looking for, you can go to SeanRais.com down below, and I believe you can get access to those from there. I believe that's possible, but those were the skills that I had to stack to get to where I'm at today. Thank you all. This is Breakfast with the Brand. We'll see you all Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.